Reality without certainty, when observation changed the world. The fracture in certainty. Look around you. The world appears solid, stable, and independent of you. But what if reality is not something you simply observe? What if it is something you participate in? Over the last century, science and philosophy have uncovered a disturbing possibility. Reality may not be objective in the way we once believed. Part 1. The classical view of reality. For centuries, reality was considered fixed and independent. In the worldview shaped by Isaac Newton, space and time were absolute. Objects existed with definite properties, whether or not anyone observed them. The universe was a vast machine, governed by predictable laws. Human perception was assumed to be a passive window into this subjective world. Reality, it seemed, did not care who was watching. Part 2. Perception and the limits of the senses. Yet long before modern science challenged objectivity, philosophers questioned perception. Immanuel Kant argued that we never experience reality directly. Instead, the mind organizes sensory input into space, time, and causality. According to Kant, we know phenomena, appearances, not things as they truly are. Reality, then, is filtered. This idea remained philosophical until science began to agree. Part 3. Relativity and the death of absolute time. In 1905, Albert Einstein shattered classical assumptions. His theory of relativity demonstrated that space and time depend on the observer's motion. Two observers can disagree on the length of an object, the duration of an event, the order in which events occur, and both can be correct. Reality no longer had a single frame. Objectivity began to fracture. Part 4. Quantum mechanics and the observer problem. If relativity unsettled reality, quantum mechanics destabilized it completely. At the microscopic scale, particles do not behave like solid objects. They exist as probabilities. Only when measured do they take on definite properties. This is not a limitation of instruments, it is a fundamental feature of nature. The act of observation changes the outcome. The observer is no longer separate from reality. Part 5. The double-slit experiment. Few experiments illustrate this better than the double-slit experiment. When unobserved, particles behave like waves, spreading across possibilities. When observed, they behave like particles, choosing a single outcome. Reality appears to respond to observation. Not consciousness itself, but interaction. Still, the implication is unsettling. Properties are not fixed until measured. Part 6. What does objective really mean? Does this mean reality is subjective? Not exactly. Modern physics suggests reality is relational. Properties exist in relation to systems, observers, and measurements. There is no single, observer-independent description that contains all truth. Objectivity becomes statistical, not absolute. Reality is shared but not detached. Part 7. Neuroscience and constructed experience. The challenge to objectivity does not stop with physics. Neuroscience shows that perception is actively constructed. The brain predicts reality before sensory data arrives. Color, sound, and even time are interpretations, not direct recordings. What you experience is not the world itself, but a model built for survival. Reality as lived is never raw. Part 8. Multiple viewpoints, one world. Different scientific interpretations attempt to resolve this puzzle. Some propose many worlds. Others propose hidden variables. Some accept probability as fundamental. No interpretation restores classical objectivity. Instead, they accept a deeper truth. Reality does not exist independently of interaction. What is known? Observation matters. Perception shapes experience. Certainty has limits. What remains unknown? Why observation has this role? Whether reality exists beyond all perspectives. How consciousness fits into the equation. Part 9. Why this changes everything. The idea that reality is not fully objective alters how we understand knowledge itself. Science becomes a dialogue with nature, not a detached recording. Certainty gives way to precision without absolutes. Humility replaces dominance. We are no longer spectators of reality. We are participants. A quiet shift. Reality does not vanish when you look away, but it may not exist in a single, fixed form either. The universe reveals itself through relationships between matter, measurement, and mind. Understanding this does not weaken truth. It deepens it. If this documentary expanded your perspective, consider liking the video and subscribing to Interesting MindHub for future explorations. Reality still has questions, and observation is only the beginning.